you're going to found Vista.
Right.
That's a big step, man. It's risky, uncertain. Were there role models? What was the opportunity you saw?
Yeah.
You were, at the time, a young African-American man launching on this incredibly heroic and risky, as I've said earlier, venture.
Right.
Talk me through that.
Yeah. You and I chatted a little bit about this. As an investment banker at Goldman, I probably sat through, in 6 years, 200 board meetings advising clients. Mm-hmm. There was only one other African American in any of those board meetings once. Okay? So I looked at that landscape, and look, I was doing extremely well. In fact, what had occurred was I was made what was called the business unit manager of the M&A group, 96, and I was asked to go out to the West Coast and start our tech group. So I was our first M&A banker on the ground, focused on technology in the spring of 1997. Okay, this is, trees were growing to the sky, right? Mm-hmm. And I got the great pleasure of working on a couple of companies. One company by the name of Apple Computer, which you probably heard of.
Heard of it. I've heard of that one.
A company by the name of Yahoo, a little company by the name of eBay, a little company by the name of Hewlett Packard, okay, Texas Instruments, Microsoft. Because at the time, no one wanted to cover those companies because they weren't East Coast-based companies. And if you're on the West Coast and you were Goldman Sachs at that time, you were off in the hinterland someplace.
So does expertise now, we're going to talk about, I want to hear about Vista, the founding years, how it grew and so forth. But you have portfolio companies under management.
Right.
What attention do you give, if any, to the expertise of those leaders?
A ton. So let me tell you how Vista is expressed in the marketplace. I like to think about our organization in, call it 3 houses and a foundation. One house is our investment team. I've got about 190 people who do nothing every day but look for enterprise software companies to invest in. Okay, so we're looking for a certain, again, we don't do consumer, it's mission critical, business critical, enterprise software. 190 people, biggest team in the world that does that. I've got about 140 people in our value creation unit, okay? And value creation unit actually focuses on delivering what I call a set of best practices and how do you run a software companies to the management teams of the companies that we invest in and what we buy. Okay, and the third part is what I'll call the capital raising, and the foundation's all the legal compliance and all those sort of things. But it's that middle piece, that value creation piece, which is the critical analytical engine to understanding, is this executive, and the group of executive or ELT, executive leadership team that we are working with, do they understand how to create value in that business beyond where we bought the company? Look, a lot of them did a great job, starting the business and going to 50 million or 100 million or 200 million in ARR, which annual recurring revenue or whatever it might be. But do they know what it takes to get to $1 billion?
Got it.
Now, the thing to think about in the world I live in of enterprise software, it's still a relatively young industry. Okay, 97% of these companies are still private. The vast majority are still being run by their founders, okay? And the founders typically are running the biggest business they've ever run that day, okay? Because they grew this business up. And a lot of the things they did to grow it to 50 or 150 in ARR is not the same things you need to grow to 400 or to go from small to medium business to enterprise, okay? Or from an on-prem to a cloud.